You hear the screeching of an owl, you hear the wind begin to howl. You know there's zombies on the prowl. And it's terror time again. They've got you running through the night. It's terror time again. And you just might die of fright. It's a terrifying time.
Hello everyone, Core's back, and in today's edition of the Mod Guide, we're covering a wide variety of horror mods, from those that change up the zombies with new skins or animations, to ones that'll drastically change the world around you. But before we begin, I'd like to thank Foxfire for her lovely artwork. I'd like to ask y'all to support the content. And as this is the start of the spooky month, I'd like to let y'all know that we'll be live streaming every single day with different horror games for the entire month of October, leading up to Halloween night, where we'll do one big ass long stream. With that out of the way, let's begin with our first mod, shall we? Are you tired of being able to see? Do you need an actual reason to carry around a source of light? Ready to know true fear of the dark? Well, if so, let me introduce the Dark World mod by Crazy TV. This mod's purpose is to make the world a bit darker and a bit spookier and a bit more disorientating. While the dimming is somewhat noticeable during the daytime in the current build, it's much more noticeable during nighttime. And I also did try it with heavy storms, but it seemed the way storms worked, it brightened the world more than it should. Because when I disabled the storm at night, the world got a lot darker. Where this mod really shines in its current build is definitely at night, where it's almost pitch black, and if you wander around without a light source, you're just asking for trouble. Like flipping the big flashlight on is like night and day difference in the brightness levels, as the entire world just lights up and goes dark whenever the light's not pointing. Overall, I definitely like the mod. I just hope the creator is able to darken the daytime like they mentioned wanting to do in the mod description. These next three mods are all made by the same developer, a mate named Qualifier, and they all serve to work together to accomplish one goal, and that goal is bringing home the experience that you feel in the Half-Life mod Afraid of Monsters. Let's start with skins, as that's the logical place, I think. This mod brings the textures for the Afraid of Monsters enemies into the game and attempts to translate them onto Zomboid's character models the best it can. And I think they did a pretty damn good job at it. I mean, these corpses look like downright fucking creepy. And a lot of my viewers on streams have been commenting about it looking creepy as fuck, especially the eyes. And they only get worse once you combine it with the Afraid of Monsters animation mod, which causes the zombies to twitch and jerk and seize sporadically all over the place as they attempt to hone in on you and turn you into one of the spasmodic hordes, shuffling to bring ever more assholes into the shuffling dead. And the final mod of this triple threat package brings the sounds made by the zombies found in the Afraid of Monsters game mod. And yeah, the sound effects definitely do the trick, making the hordes even creepier. And when you turn a corner in a house, just to get jump scared by one of those twitching, eyeless freaks and they groan at you, oh yeah, those fuckers definitely do the trick. Bonk them dead quick. Overall, I really like the whole package. I definitely think Qualifier should do more cool mods, maybe translating more iconic horrors into Zomboid. Do y'all remember that Silent Hill themed video I did on a bunch of Silent Hill related and inspired mods? Well, recently the Silent Hill radio mod within it stopped working properly, but Monkey, the mod creator, has released an overhauled mod called the Silent Hill Radio Redux, which it does a couple of things, including adding a lot of quality of life enhancements over the original mod. Now keep in mind that this mod is a work in progress, so currently the only way to craft a radio is via finding the Convert Walkie to Experimental Radio schematic magazine, which will let you take any walkie-talkie in the game and, using a screwdriver, turn it into a radio like on the title. Keep in mind the radio also needs a battery inserted before it'll function. Now, some of the nice new cool features includes a UI addition in the top left hand corner, which adds a third slot whenever the radio is equipped, either in your hand or on your belt. That'll change color to indicate how close a zombie is, also shows how much battery is left in the device, and whether whether it's on or off. This UI element also functions as a switch that can turn the radio on and off with just a click. Now keep in mind you'll have to flick it on and off to reset the perimeter color warning, as it does currently stick to the highest level it reached, and now the radio also takes elevation into account, causing it to be louder for zombies that are nearby on the same floor versus for when zombies are nearby but directly above or below you. Overall, it's definitely a fantastic mod. It really adds some quality of life features the original mod was missing. Especially given how Harry wears the radio in Silent Hill 1 on his chest, you can now wear it on your belt. Do you think some of those other darkness mods aren't hardcore enough? Do you want the darkness become even more deadly a threat? Well, this mod's also made by Monkey and is inspired by Silent Hill as well. So let me introduce The Darkness Is Coming. Before you begin, you'll need to select the mod as well as one of the emergency broadcast modules. That'll let you know when and where a darkness event will strike you, so you can be prepared and hole up for the emergency event. The darkness is a period of intense and blinding darkness, in which the sky dims and potentially a hazardous thick fog will creep in. If the fog does descend, then you'll need to either don a gas mask or stay inside and find ways to pass the time to wait it out. Now let's talk about how you can be aware of the darkness first, before we discuss some of its effects. There is currently 3 ways to determine when a darkness event is about to occur. Number 1, certain regions of the maps have sirens. If these go off, prepare yourself, for a darkness event will be descending shortly. I'd recommend hightailing it back to base ASAP, especially because once the event starts, you've got via the default settings 2 hours to get home, before all the zombies outside become sprinters. And that brings us up to the first part of our mod's in-game effects. The zombies become sprinters. That's right, the world becomes pitch black, the fog can descend to intense, obscuring levels, and the zombies within said fog are now hauling ass directly for you. Now, effect 2 of the darkness is if the fog is particularly thick, you cannot even head out without a mask, or else you'll suffer with your health. Effect 3 is that electronics spaz out and start to have issues. The emergency radio starts fizzing out during the effect, emitting static, and cars become unreliable, having a chance every 10 minutes for the car to shut down entirely and force you to frantically fire it back up. All the while, those sprinters are closing in. And that's also not including the option that you could enable that'll disable vehicles almost entirely during a darkness period within the sandbox settings, which will cause you have to take this event on foot, and the last thing you want is to be lost in the fog, in the dark, being chased by sprinters all the way from, say, Muldrow to McCoy, because you decide you didn't want to head home yet on a looting trip. Honestly, I'm quite a fan of this one. It's got the aesthetic of some of those darkness mods, with some nocturnal sprinters blended in, with some Silent Hill and toxic fog for good measure. It's a masochistic mod for sure, but one with a lot of potential for fun and dangerous challenge runs. If you're looking for the emergency broadcast frequency, I'd recommend the Muldrow cabin with a well, as the ham radio there often seems to be set to that frequency that you're looking for. Overall, while it's a small handful of mods, a lot of them are very cool and unique. And personally, of all of them, The Darkness Is Coming has to be my absolute favorite. I mean, it just drastically shifts the gameplay and tone of the game, making it a much more dangerous experience, coupled with ramping up the horror aspect immensely, making looting and raiding a dangerous prospect that definitely has to be taken slow and steady. Maybe even consider a stealth sort of playstyle, or really keep an eye out for that emergency radio, cause you definitely can't afford to be spotted by more than 1 or 2 at a time when night's fallen and they start sprinting. It's definitely a bad time to get ganged up on. Maybe also consider pairing it up with the Silent Hill radio mod to give you a bit of an advanced warning of when the zombies are coming, as it's gonna be pretty hard to see and fight in these blacked out foggy conditions. Hell, toss in the Afraid of Monsters animations if you really want to make them even freakier in the mist. Honestly, I'd recommend you use the default settings before you edit them around too much, because you really don't want to throw yourself in without a bit of practice with the setting. But hey, I'm just a YouTuber, not your dad, so go nuts! Also, hey, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'd like to thank y'all for the support watching this far, and definitely thank the names seen up on the screen, as y'all's support means a lot to me. This has been Core, and I'll see you in the next video or stream, y'all.